Hey, welcome into the REVO Church podcast. I'm Jamie. I'm the host of the podcast, and I actually brought somebody with me.
Hello, I'm Katie.
Katie, otherwise known as Matthew's sister, Kristen's sister, and AKA the real Catherine.
The real one.
The real one.
The best one, if you will.
If you will.
Kidding.
I'm telling Matthew that you said that.
Yeah.
Kristen's not a Catherine anymore, so it doesn't matter. Kristen, she abandoned you guys.
She's
really.
a Ross now.
Yeah,
we don't claim her.
She doesn't matter.
Kidding.
But man, I'm excited to be here because we have been talking last week. We dropped a video. It was me and Pastor Michael. We were talking about student ministry.
Yeah.
And more specifically, we were looking at, hey, what does student ministry do in the summer? What's some of the vision behind what they did? Yeah. And then we were casting the vision moving forward of like, what's the ministry looking like? What's the goal? Why are we doing it? And today we're actually going to be talking about rGroups, small group ministry, rGroups. And so I'm excited because, man, I'm the discipleship pastor at REVO. So one of my jobs is running the small group ministry. And so I get the joy of doing that. And I brought Katie along with me because, well, I needed somebody. No, I brought Katie along with me because, you know what? She just came on staff not too long ago. And pretty excited about that. She's going to be running a lot of our social media. So if you look and you see something on social media that you're like, it's not that good,
just let me know.
Just
let me know.
message Katie. She'll take the hit and be like, listen,
I can take some constructive criticism.
No, man, I invited Katie for one because of that. But then also she runs one of our small groups. And talking to her, I think she's a deep thinker. I think she actually cares about her. Not that the other leaders don't, but not that the other leaders don't, but I think she cares about her crew. And so I was just excited to bring her on and be like, hey, let's talk about it. So I actually want to start out the conversation because today we're going to talk about it in two different lanes. We're going to first talk about the idea of just small groups as a whole. So small group ministry, like what is it? Why is it? Why do we do it? And then I want to curtail it, if you will, with the idea of just our church, the rGroup ministry that we have here at the church. But I want to start out with a quote. Actually, it's from John Wesley. It was this. John Wesley wasn't persuaded that someone had made a decision for Christ until that person attended a small group.
Crazy.
Think about that. I want to say it again. John Wesley wasn't persuaded that someone made a decision for Christ until that person was in a small group.
Yeah, that hits.
Like, think about that. Like, what's your, right off the cuff, we were talking about this right before we recorded, like, what's your immediate gut reaction when you hear John Wesley's quote?
I know, immediate gut reaction for me was like, that's like it's kind of harsh in a way. And for me personally, who am I to say if someone's a Christian or not? But I think Wesley has a point too of like, you know, if you're a Christian, you should really desire that fellowship, that Christian community, you know? And so, I mean, I think he's got a point. Like if, you know, we pose the question of like, if you're not a part of a Christian community, if you're not actively seeking that, are you saved?
Yeah.
You know,
reading that. So if you don't know who John Wesley is, I don't know how familiar you are with John Wesley.
A little bit.
He was the father of Methodism, the Methodist Church, but also he is known as the father of small groups. So I have done a major deep dive on John Wesley recently. I have found out that I love his stuff because what he did, he created three things: societies, classes, and bands. Societies, when we think about societies, it was the large church setting. It was a Sunday morning. Yeah. It was you come together, you hang out, you seek the Lord together. It's one big setting. And then he created classes, and these classes are these small groups. They were typically 18 to 25 people in a group. They were broken up mostly by geographical location. They were less about like the individual person and more just like, hey, location. Like if you live here and I live here, we're going to come together and we're going to talk about Jesus.
Makes sense. Sphere of
and
influence.
Then he created bands, which are typically, I think it was like 3 to 5 people. And they were broken up, not so much about location, but it was more I'm a man in my late 20s. That feels sad to say. And so I would be, and married. And so then I would be around other men that are in a similar age range and demographic. And so then we would sit down, and that goal was more of like, let's talk about sin and let's get very personal. And so hearing John Wesley say that, like my first thought when I read that quote was, he's saying that so that people join small groups so that he looks good. That was my immediate thought.
Fair.
And then I was like, well, actually, no, like I think there's a deeper meaning to it.
Yeah.
When I think about that, I'm like, if you follow Jesus, there should be a desire in you to be around people that are desiring Jesus.
Yeah, I think that's also just how you grow as well. Like you can grow deeper. One of our core values.
Hey, grow deep.
You can grow deeper by being around that Christian community. I mean, I know personally from like my small group experience, I did some in college, and then after college, when we started this women's group at REVO North, I was like just surrounded by women of different ages, and that was super impactful.
Yeah.
Because you get to hear their experience. You get to hear from and learn from somebody that's a little farther along in life. And then you also get to hear from some younger women that are, you know, you can kind of bring up and encourage, but you can also learn from their different experiences. And you just grow deeper in the faith, for me personally, through that. And that was super encouraging.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, when we think about that, this quote's not saying you have to be a part of,
right.
Like for our context, it's not saying if you're not in our group at REVO Church, then you don't love Jesus.
Right.
Like, that's not what the quote's saying. What the quote was saying was if you're not, when he's saying small group, the idea was like, if you're not in a group of people that are seeking Jesus and wanting to talk about him, then, hey, maybe you don't know Jesus.
Yeah.
Not that you're not in a small group, not that you're not at like REVO Church, our group, but like this could be a Bible study. This could be a serve team. This could be just my friends and family, my community. We sit down and like part of what we talk about is Jesus.
Right.
And so I think about that, like, man, we should desire to be around people that are desiring Jesus.
For sure.
Proverbs talks about how iron sharpens iron. And so if we want to grow in our faith, if we want to be better, then man, we need to be around some people that love Jesus.
Yeah, and I think it's so true. Like who you surround yourself with has so much influence on your life. And so it's even like a point of like, we got to ask ourselves, like, who am I surrounding myself with? You know, like, am I surrounding myself with godly Christian community or am I not? And I think that can show as well in our walks.
Yeah, I think that shows a lot about who we are. And that's not to say that being around people that aren't Christians is bad. That's
for sure
the exact opposite. As Christians, we need to
That's what Jesus did.
be around and with and in communities of lost people.
For sure.
But our main core should be following Jesus. And so like right off the top, when we're talking about small groups, the more I think about that quote by John Wesley, the more I'm like, man, I get it.
Right.
Because if we love Jesus, then we should want to be around his people.
Yeah, agreed.
But then like for me, Katie, I don't know about you, but for me, what I do with my time, I always want it to be biblical.
Right.
Like if I'm going to spend time on something, I want it to be biblical.
It's great to look at quotes, but what does the Bible say about it?
Yeah, like what does the Bible say about it? And so when I think about like small groups, like me and my wife, Casey, shout out, we host a small group on Thursday nights. We actually have one. We are recording this on a Thursday. And so when I leave here, I have to go make sure our house is in order because people are coming in.
Yep.
And so can't have the,
gotta have a clean house.
Gotta have a clean house. And so, you know, we don't just do that because, oh man, it's fun and like we want to. We actually do it because, man, small groups are biblical. Like there's so many examples in the Bible that we could pull from, but I want to look at just 3 of them kind of in depth. The first one actually comes from the book of Exodus. One of my personal favorite books of the Bible is the book of Exodus. Okay. I have been known to say that Moses is the dopest guy in the Bible. Dope is not a cool term anymore, but yet he still is.
That's like that's not Gen Z, that's millennial term.
That's millennial. I've accepted that I am a millennial. And it just gets, on the cusp. I'm like kind of in between, but man, I look at that and I'm like, okay, this is who I am. But in the book of Exodus, we see this story lay out where they have now gotten out of Egypt. They've made it out. The Red Sea, they've crossed the Red Sea. They have sung the song of Moses right after they get out. They have now started to question, like, God, why did you bring us here? Like, we don't want to be here. Like, bring us back to slavery. Crazy like,
stuff.
And then I think about myself, and I'm like, I do the same thing.
Like,
I'm just as bad. But then I'm like, okay, they get to that point, and now they're starting to seek Jesus. Like, manna from heaven has come down, and what has happened is Moses is leading the people. And if anyone had a dispute, they would go to Moses. If anyone in the nation of Israel, think about it, a nation. This isn't like 10 people. This is thousands and thousands of people. If they had a problem with anyone, they went to Moses.
Crazy.
And so Moses spent his entire day standing and judging what people were saying. And his father-in-law, Jethro, comes up to him and is like, Moses, the thing you are doing is not good.
Right.
He's like, what you're doing, you are wasting your time.
Yeah.
Like,
and I love verse 18. He says, the task is too heavy for you. You can't do it alone, or you can't handle it all by yourself.
Yeah. He's like, what you're doing is too much, Moses.
Yeah.
You were trying to care for the entire nation.
Yeah.
And so then he goes on to say instead in verse 23, he says, or right before it, he says, let them judge the people at all times. Verse 22. And he said, every great matter they shall bring to you, but any small matter they'll decide for themselves. So it will be easier for you and they will bear your burden.
Right.
And so Jethro goes on to say to Moses, set up people that are in leadership.
Yeah.
Set up people that are going to run small groups.
Yeah.
Take the nation of Israel, this massive group of people, and split them into small groups and put people that are leaders over them. And when they have a problem, have them go to the leadership. And then you, Moses, instead of meeting with thousands of people, meet with the hundreds of people that are the leaders.
Yeah.
And then in that sense, it'll be able to be done. And then in verse 23, he said, if you do this, God will direct you. You will be able to endure, and all this people also will go to their place in peace. And so Jethro looks at Moses and is like, divide up the people, have leaders and judges, let them choose. And then when you do this, God will bless it.
Right. Yeah. So cool. And like, it's also encouraging, like, Moses was surrounding himself with people that could pour into his life.
Yeah.
Like his father-in-law. Like, that is great advice.
Yeah.
And that's something that Moses, I think, needed to hear. And gosh, Moses is such a cool leader in the Bible. I'd say the dopest.
Yeah, I would say he's the dopest.
So, and like, he surrounded himself, and like, he had somebody to go to for advice, you know. I mean, gosh, he had the Lord, of course, but he also had Jethro, and what wise words from Jethro. And, they've ended up dividing and conquering, I guess.
Yeah. And I read that and I'm like, man, that's so cool. Like, I want my entire life to be modeled after things that are biblical.
Right.
But then I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, but that's Old Testament.
Right.
Like, me personally, I love the Old Testament. I do. It's
big Old Testament guy.
It gets me excited. But I'm like, okay, that's Old Testament. We're New Testament people. We are in the church. I'm not a child of Israel. I'm not an Israelite. I was not part of the slavery. Like, that was not my story. Like, I'm in the church age. So when I think about that, okay, well, how does it apply? How does that look forward to today?
Right.
Well, spoiler alert, Jesus was a small group leader.
I'd say of about 12.
He had, like Jesus
12 of them.
had 12 guys that followed him for 3 years. Were with them every day. Jesus was teaching them how to live. Jesus was teaching them, hey, you heard this said in the law? Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Like, you heard this, but let me say this.
And that's such, like, even going back to what we were saying, like, that was Jesus' closest friends were 12 Christians, and he led them well. But then expanding to that, he also surrounded himself and poured into non-believers to get them towards Christ, kind of to the point what we were talking about earlier of, like, your closest friends who you go to for advice. Jesus didn't go to them for advice, of course, but your closest friends, that small group is your sphere of influence. Is like, those are your Christian friends.
Yeah.
And then you can also, from that encouragement, from that community, you go out and testify and preach the gospel to the non-believers as Jesus did.
Yeah. And I look at that and I'm like, well, shoot, man, Jesus made it a point in his life, like you said, to spend time with good community, of Christian community. Like, I don't think we get that full point of we should do things that Jesus does. Like, some of the things Jesus did was he made time every moment when he was in a busy season to go off and seek the Lord in prayer.
Yeah.
We should be praying.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus made it a point to know the scripture. We should know the scripture.
Yeah.
And Jesus made it a point to spend time with 12 people continually so that they could know more and grow.
Yeah.
And then he instructs them to do the same. And so I'm looking and I'm like, okay, if it's biblical, then I want to do it.
Right.
And Jesus very clearly was like, we need to be a part of Christian community.
Yeah.
There needs to be that level.
It's even like a challenge for me as like an rGroup leader is like, how am I leading my group well? And like, am I seeking the scriptures and seeking the word of God and looking at Jesus and how he led his group of people? Like, am I trying to lead as Jesus led?
Yeah.
So that's also another challenge for me.
Like, am I doing it the way that Jesus was doing it?
Right.
Like, I think about that with my group.
Yeah.
Am I like, am I reaching out to the people like Jesus was with it? Like, clearly 21st century, like, I can't spend all day, every day with the people that's in my small group.
Right.
but like, am I reaching out to them?
Yeah.
Like Jesus spent every day with them. Am I texting them?
Yeah. Am I going off by myself to pray to the Lord on like for them?
Like,
you know?
am I praying on their behalf?
Yeah.
Not that we're talking about prayer, but
no, but
I've been challenged by something recently. Martin Luther. I've been reading a lot of early church fathers. It's fun stuff.
John Wesley, Martin Luther.
Yeah.
Come on,
Martin
now.
Luther. One of the things
Love
he
it.
was known talking about prayer was he said that he would pray for 2 hours a day.
Wow.
Unless he had a very busy day. And he said on the busy days, he would pray 3 hours a day. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, well, shoot, man, like, where's my prayer?
Goodness gracious.
Like, so I'm like, man,
challenges your prayer
biblical
life.
foundations. Yeah. But then the third thing, so like Jethro comes to Moses and was like, Moses, what you're doing is not good.
Yeah.
You need to split this nation up into small groups.
Yeah.
And then Jesus was a small group leader. One of the craziest, coolest things when we realize that.
Sure.
But then the third, when we're talking biblical foundations, the early church was so significant when it comes to small groups.
Yeah.
Here's a fun little fact for you. When you look at the book of Acts and you see the word church, almost every time they talk about a church or a meeting or they're together, it's like 95% of the time in the Bible, they are talking about a house. Like 95% of the time, they were talking about being in community with one another in a house.
Yeah.
They weren't talking about going to the temple. Like it mentioned that they would go to the temple. Like Acts chapter 2, 42 to 47 is the model of the early church.
Right.
And it talks about how they would go to the temple and worship together. But almost every single time it talks about a church or an assembly or they're together, it was talking about in a small group, in houses together. And I'm like, well, shoot, man, they put such a high priority on that small, intricate, connected thing.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why, I've been studying this, I've been thinking about it. I think the reason they did that was so that they could have good community. Like it's really hard if you've attended a church, if you've been going to REVO, or if you just go to a church anywhere and you found this podcast, hey, we're so happy you're here. But it's so hard to be at a church and to feel like you know the people that you're sitting beside.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's so many times in my life where I've attended a church and then I'm like, I don't know anybody here. None of these people know me. Like if I talk about like my problems, my issues, my fears, my concerns, like they're not going to know, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
And I think the early church identified that and was like,
yeah,
the 3,000 people got saved in Acts chapter 2. Like Peter preached, 3,000 people got saved.
That's wild.
The church went from 12 to 3,012 in
Just
one
like
sermon.
that.
And then I imagine they looked at him and was like, these people don't know me. Like, I don't know half these people.
Yeah.
And so they started breaking down and getting in the groups where they could be vulnerable, where there can be some level of intimacy.
Yeah, it was so crucial for them, like starting out the church. Like that's what they found important. You know, they're starting the early church. They have no example to build off of. You know, this is Christianity. It was a new thing. Like Jesus just went up to heaven, you know? Yeah. So like, and they found it important. Yes, they went to the temple and they gathered together. Super important. But they also found it important to have these small groups, these smaller groups to grow and learn together in homes, you know, and like get that homey feel. Love that.
Yeah. Like I think that's such an important thing for us to realize is like, if they valued it,
right,
how much more should we value it?
Right.
Because for them, they were in a culture that was so much more connected than we are. Like the early church, you know, history was more family driven. It was more community driven. They didn't
have phones.
They didn't have phones. They didn't have Facebook. They didn't have the perception of intimacy that we have today. Like everyone feels like they know each other and are connected because we see what you post on Facebook. We see the families that you know, like, and so we feel like we know each other.
They had to actually go and talk to people.
They had to go and talk to people, like terrifying.
Crazy.
And yet in that, they identified that it's so important that we need to come together. And so I think about that and I'm like, well, shoot, man. Okay. So John Wesley said that if someone loves Jesus, they should value Christian community. He is basically like, if they are not in a small group, not around Christian community, he's asking the question, do they love Jesus?
Right.
And then we're looking at biblical foundations. Jethro looks at Moses like, you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
You need a small group. Jesus led 12 guys for 3 years and then sent them out to go and do the same.
Yeah.
Small group. And then the early church, every time, almost every single time, they're talking about a house being together. And so I'm like, all right, so clearly small groups are biblical.
Right.
Clearly small groups are important. Clearly we need it. And so then I want to look at, man, REVO for just a second. I don't like to talk about this a ton because I don't want to be like bragging or like,
it's not about
man,
us.
look how awesome we are. It's not.
It's the Lord's
I am
work.
the worst. Like You can ask Katie. I am so inconsistent with just like simple communication with my small group leaders that it clearly has nothing to do with me. I'm supposed to send them an email, and they'll get the email like 2 weeks later with information that is late.
It happens.
It has nothing to do with me.
This is all the Lord's work.
It's all the Lord. But I just want to share like what the Lord has been doing at our church.
Yeah.
We have been growing. We're one church in 3 locations, South Fork, North Campus, and Walkertown.
Yeah.
All 3 of our campuses have seen growth
in
the last 6 months, in the last year.
All glory to God for that.
But that's amazing on its own. But then when it comes to our small group ministry, we've seen growth in our small groups. Every single season for the last 2 years, we've had an increase of people signing up for small groups.
Yeah.
This most recent season, so we are currently in a small group season that runs September, October, and November. And in this season, we have 316 people that have signed up for a small group.
Let's go.
316 people.
That's good stuff.
And I'm not even going to lie, that's not even everybody, because half of the small group leaders don't sign up for their group.
That's true.
And so then we're, if we want to start having fun, we're going to start adding numbers. We're going to get up to like 500,
Might as well.
And
but some of those people are in multiple groups.
And they're in multiple groups. Yeah. So, you can break the numbers down, but
crazy.
What that means is that's over 300 people in our church, in all 3 of our campuses, that have said, you know what? Small groups are important.
Yeah.
Like, community is important. The people I'm around are important.
Yeah.
Like,
and I know it's like, it can be scary, intimidating to sign up for a group that you're like, well, gosh, I don't know anybody. And I'm an introvert. I don't want to, I don't want this.
I don't have that problem.
I don't either. I don't either. But I do know of some people that are just super introverted. But even personally in my group, there's some introverts, and they've taken the step to come to the group.
Yeah.
And I've seen so much fruit from that in their lives. And they'd say the same thing, And that's just so powerful that, like, you can step out of your comfort zone and feel welcomed in a group, Yeah.
And, like, I would say this, like, our small groups, all of our small groups, like, we do a couple of things in our small groups. Every single one of our small groups is seeking to grow closer to Jesus. We have groups that are going through Bible passages. Like, my group is going through 1st and 2nd Timothy right now.
Right.
We have groups that are going through the book of James. We have groups that are going through the book of Ecclesiastes. Like, we have groups that are going through the Bible and, like, saying, I want to study and break down the Bible.
Right.
We have groups that are going through, like, book studies. So we have a couple of groups that are looking at spiritual warfare, and it's like, man, like, how do we fight back against what we face? We have groups like your group that's like, how do we defend our faith? Apologetics.
That's
like, if someone comes up to us and is like, I don't believe this, how do we respond? Like, what's the study that you're doing? Questions that you hope?
The book is called The Questions Christians Hope No One Will Ask.
Yeah.
And it's also so crazy because there have been multiple people in our group that have joined maybe for the first time, or this is their 2nd, 3rd season, whatever with us. We're reading this book about apologetics, and they've come up to me and be like, Katie, guess what? Like, we have, like, somebody asked me this question.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having conversations with non-believers or whoever about Christianity, and I didn't know what to say, but we're reading this book, and this is helping me out. And I'm like, that is not us. That's not me. It's the Lord just simply working through their faithfulness with joining a small group. And they're seeing that fruit. Yeah. And, like, God will use that. He will use your obedience, and that's just,
for sure.
It's crazy.
I think that's
so cool to see.
It's so impactful, man. That's, and so I say all that, like, our small groups, like, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to have the ability to just go deeper in your faith. Studying the Bible, studying topics that are on it. We have groups that are dedicated to prayer. We have a group that's Wednesday nights. It's on Zoom. All they do is they get on Zoom, share prayer requests, and pray.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so, like,
we have
together.
Let's use the technology and pray together.
Let's use what God has provided
Yeah.
and then seek him together. Like, amazing stuff. And so, like, if you join a group, like, the first thing you're doing is you're going to be able to grow in your faith.
Yeah.
Second thing you get is, man, you get some community. Like, I've yet to find someone that has joined a small group, that stuck with it, and then at the end of the season walk away and say, you know what? I feel like I'm still so disconnected from people.
Yeah.
Like, every person that I've met that joined a small group for the first time, that stepped out in faith, then by the end is like, I found a group of people.
Yeah.
Like, I found people that love me, that care about me, that I can talk about things. We have a group in my small group, just speaking from my personal experience. We have a couple in my small group that had been going to North Campus for like 6 years. They've been going for a long time, almost since the start of North Campus. They sat in the back. They were not necessarily disconnected, but like they worked at in the evenings, nighttime jobs, so they couldn't really get connected.
Right.
They couldn't really serve. And so then they finally, job situation changed. They joined a small group. And now we have a group in our small group that is super connected. They had a baby. And so
Wow.
like we had a baby, so we've been able to share that experience
That's so
together.
cool.
We've been able to talk.
Yeah.
When they had the child, our small group signed up and did a meal train and was able to provide meals for them.
Yeah.
Like they were able to say, you know what, now that we're in a group, we have this community that we otherwise didn't have.
Yeah.
And so like, you're going to get to hear about Jesus.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to build community. And then the third thing, and what I think is one of the most cool things that we do as a church, is all of our small groups serve.
Yeah.
Like every one of our small groups, our groups, we serve in the community. My group is serving this season at King Outreach.
Ooh,
We've been
that.
serving there for a long time. We love ministry
helping
partner
them
up
out.
there.
Yeah.
And like every one of our small groups, if you're a part of it, you get to go and serve the community, because we see it as so vital that
Oh, yeah.
part of our identity in Christ is to go and serve those that are in need. And so, man, like we talk about that. That's 316 people this season,
So good.
plus or minus
So
a
good.
few, depending on, the way
Yeah.
the numbers crunch. But over 300 people that are saying, you know what, I want to grow in my faith.
Yeah.
I want to find community. I want to go and serve others. Like, that is so awesome.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
That gets me fired up.
It's just a testament to the Lord's goodness.
It's just what God has been doing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And so here's
So
my
cool.
challenge for everyone watching this video. We actually have a couple groups that are delayed starting. We have 2 groups that are meeting at South Fork. I know some of you, if you watch it and you don't go to South Fork, but you're like, man, I want to have that community that you're talking about. I want to grow in my faith like you're talking about. I want to move forward in my faith. That quote by John Wesley challenged me, because I've been loving Jesus, but I've been doing it all by myself, and it's time to get a group around me.
Yeah.
We have 2 groups that are delayed starting. That means they're starting actually next month. Like they're starting in October. So
That's good
it's
stuff.
September, they're starting in October.
Yeah.
They're starting real soon. If you're curious about that, man, shoot me an email.
Yeah.
I want to connect you with them. My email's in the description. Send me a message, comment on our post. We have a group, like I mentioned, that's a Wednesday night group that is all online. They're always open. If that's something you're interested in, and you're like, well, Jamie, I don't even live in North Carolina. Again, praise God that you found our video. And then you're like, but I want that community.
Yeah.
Man, they'd love to connect you. They meet on Zoom on Wednesday nights. Like, it's so simple.
Yeah.
And so, man, like my challenge for you is maybe God's pushing you to take that step.
Yeah.
Maybe God's pushing you to say, you know what? You've been loving Jesus, but you've been doing it by yourself. And it's time to realize that we are created to be in community with one another.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you when you read the book of Acts, how many times you're going to read the word one another. You're going to read it almost every other word. Why?
It's a
Because
lot.
it was so important.
Yeah.
They valued community so much.
Yeah.
And so, man, small groups get me fired up. Like discipleship
As they
community.
should. As they
It
should.
gets me fired up. And so
Yeah.
it's just been awesome to see how God's blessed.
Yeah. Take that step of faith. It's
Yeah.
I know it can be scary. There are times when even my, pretty extroverted self just kind of wants to keep to myself.
Yeah.
That's can be our natural instinct sometimes, but gosh, the Lord has blessed me so much through my small group. There's God moment after God moment in my group. And so like, I encourage you to take that step of faith, take the leap. And
Yeah.
the Lord he'll bless you in that obedience for sure.
Yeah. It can't even like countless stories. There's so many stories we
Yeah.
can tell about small groups, but
So many.
man, I just encourage you, take that step.
That's another
And if
podcast.
That's another podcast for another day. But man, if you've been in a small group, I'd love if you just told us a little bit about your experience.
Yeah.
Because we'd love to hear it. We love to celebrate stories. We love to
yeah.
encourage. And so, man, I appreciate y'all clicking on the video.
Yeah.
Katie, I appreciate you coming on
course.
and being challenged.
Love talking about
Yeah.
our groups.
And hey, we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Saluted the camera.